Hi guys, so it's been a while since I did a video. I'm gonna do a quick one. Third take on this, blah. My Sony Xperia Z3 isn't working. It's an option because there's like just way too many things. I'm too lazy to figure out which one of the files I want to clear. So I'm gonna treat this kind of like a tutorial / sharing sort of video, but two things to take note. One is that whatever tips I'm giving here, I want to give a disclaimer. I am not someone affiliated with Sizzix at all. So if you want to take any advice from me, you're taking it at your own risk. But I thought I just want to share that with you. Number two, you may need more than just what you usually get in your Sizzix Big Shot or BigKick or the diecut machine. You may need other platforms as well. So keeping that in mind, if you're thinking about letterpressing, you may want to weigh your options, like put like the cost versus benefit and stuff beside. And one of the possible costs if you're taking a risk with your machine. So this is a BigKick Vintage. For me, it's a better option than the normal one with multi-platforms, largely because when I want to do like different stuff, I want to like stack them more, make it thicker, make it less thick. I know I can work around with the different platforms, and they come in like single units, and they're like different ones, right? So to me, that is a better option than going by like the multi-platform. It kind of limits what you can do with it because it's just chunky and bulky and whatnot. Okay, so I'm gonna show you 3 ways in which the Sizzix Big Shot can do letterpressing for you, and each of these require different things. So just showing you what a letterpress is. So as you can see, basically they do this deboss kind of effects. It is different from using an embossing folder because that actually gives you a, how to put it, a more crinkled up look, if you will. It's a lot deeper. This is really light, and you see this a lot when you do like when you get invitations for a wedding or neighbor cards. Sorry, I'm falling sick. So it sounds funny. I'm gonna show you guys like some of the different things you can do to achieve, and some advantage and disadvantage of different platforms and whatnot. Just a quick introduction to letterpressing. Letterpressing was used in the past more often than it was now, in ways in which they had this different individual metal plates in which they print stuff onto, and because these were metal plates, and then they put pressure together with the ink onto your paper, you end up with this debossed effect. Now in the advent of like laser printing and whatnot, most people have moved away from that option, so it's used more for like decorative purposes in this time and age. But that being said, most of the time, for a large part of history, has been it's only been accessible not through like a personal machine, but through say those huge, large vintage things, or like machines in which are kept in like factories, or when they're done by like small companies and whatnot that does your card printing for you. Largely because that was kind of the reason why it was still around. But in the last few years, I think I've been catching on in the personal craft world. So Sizzix came up with their own. They did some of the Stampin' Up, and then some they did themselves. It is this these things that they have with their own letterpress plates. Now this actually limits the options a bit, because all that you're limited by is by what you can buy off the shelves from Sizzix, or if you can get off from say Stampin' Up. But the advantage of this is that this is very easy to set up. There isn't any like complex things. This can be, and these plates are easy to use with pigment ink. You can also use paint over these, but I guess you don't have to go through all the trouble. but which is why I think it's a good option. Just gonna quick run through into the machine. So you want to get like your if you have those multi-purpose platform, you want to open up to the next tab. You want to open up the first tab, and then have this, your paper. You want to align your paper carefully, and this is one of the disadvantages of using those that Sizzix have. So, and you have basically an image with the embossing, with the ink inside. So as you can see, it doesn't really go through very much. I mean, it gives like a slight faint image, but it's not like embossing photo, really like very deep impressions. So this is the Sizzix option. It is limited, but the only advantage is that it's easy to set up, and you don't really have a lot of choices. Now, method 2 is to go and get yourself a platform. Now, Sizzix they themselves have said that they don't actually support the use of using other platforms with their machine, but to be honest, this works, and it's working well. So whatever, right? So so this is the letterpress from. Okay, I'm gonna remove these so that you guys can actually see how it looks like without the plates on, and I'll talk a little bit about this vintage metal plates later on. Sorry, let me stick that down. From Lifestyle Crafts, which is bought over by We Are Memory Keepers, which is bought over by American Craft. So basically, they do they have this set that comes in a box like these, and then they have like the multi-purpose, like the different stuff inside. Like they even have the photopolymer printing plates, which you can actually get them customized on their website. So you can just go on to weareonthenet.com to see. And then there are also other competing companies that do the same thing, and those are also relatively compatible with the Lifestyle Crafts embossing platform. So say you want to do like a invitation to a graduation, and you want to invite, say, 20 people in the family. You want to do something cool, you can do that. So here I'm just going to grab like a paper, and usually you want to be doing letterpress on heavier cardstock, like something like slightly more than 100 pounds. And you want to do like, and here you see me using this very traditional way of doing letterpressing, and this is like the closest way you can do to something more close to what letterpressing originally was like. These letterpress paints come in the kit, but you can also get them separately. But you could also get like alternative paints, as long as you know they are meant for letterpressing. You may do a little bit of research there, because there's quite a lot of stuff going on. I'm not gonna do like a very detailed print on this, but this came inside the kit, but just so you all see the effect. And I would say that this gives far better results than the one by Sizzix themselves. So like each of within the kit, the platform, they also have like a couple of the. So I'm gonna show you guys the image. Look at that. This is so cool. I'm not sure that camera's gonna pick the debossing up. You can see some, but you can to get like the different depths, or like whether you want it to be more debossed or less debossed, within each of the plates, it actually comes with like the shim that they give you that fits into the hole, like rather the valley that's inside the platform. So you want to get like experiment different ones to see which one you like. And I discover that if you put in metal plates, you will be able to get the same thing. Now, these metal plates are something I found in the flea market, and they were used to do like the same thing as you would think, like for labels, or like medicinal solutions. So I thought this was really quite cool, and The thing is, most of these during that time, unless it is like letters or words in which you're gonna see very often, which are like fully lead, like the entire thing is like just like entire lead thing. So it has like the body as a lead as well as the letterpress plate entirely fused into a singular lead unit. And those you really can't escape from doing it like the traditional way, which is to can't remember what the machine is called, but you know, where you have to drag like the paper through it and then there's this pressure that rolls around. There are those that comes like that. These are often for like companies which are using this more like an ad hoc basis, or it's like a customized piece. And what they'll do is that they will match up the thickness of whatever the letterpress requires it to be with wood mountain block. I'm going to talk about some of the disadvantages of getting these, and you might want to be careful when you go into flea markets to look for these things. But nonetheless, I'm going to like ink up this one just to show you guys an image of how cool it looks and how detailed it actually is. Now this is a little bit old, so there's like some stuff on it that, you know, some streaks across places that may not make a perfect print, but that's okay, because that's kind of like the whole point of me getting this. It gives this really cool vintage feel to the whole project, which is really cool. Okay, so now that I got paint over there, I'm gonna just grab the same paper. I'm gonna do like maybe this side for you guys to see. So this is actually an option. You need to actually unmount it from the wood. That takes a little bit of effort, like a little bit of knocking and like putting the thing back in place, but the effect is totally worth it. So this is during the time when Mitsubishi actually did some like external preparations. So, and me being a pharmacist, this is so cool. And just look at that. Look how cool this is. Totally cool. So anyway, I'm not sure whether it's going to pick that up, but each of these alphabets are raised. Yep, so these are like probably the newer ones, and that they are probably less old than the next ones I'm going to show you now. Try and pick this off without breaking my finger. This adhesive that they have within the pack, you can also find like replacement adhesive for those that are using screen printing and stuff. So it actually does not have to be the brand that you don't have to buy these adhesive sheets from Lifestyle Crafts. There are actually alternatives which are cheaper. So problem with this thing is that different ages or different companies tend to do their plates, right? They are different weights, they're of different materials, and they're actually of different thickness. Now the reason for that is because let's say the one that I'm going to use for these are going to be the same machine as these, all I need to do for the companies to make sure that it works is that they just need to have wood that are mounted to like this height, and that's all they require. Now because for our purpose of using this, I can actually put this inside this, or else I'm going to crack one of the platforms, and you can see why. Look at the difference between the thickness. Now there's another way to actually use these. It's not perfect, but it also opens up the option of you using another way of letterpressing without having to purchase this platform. But you have to purchase other stuff. Sizzix has, for a period of time, released this. I wonder if anybody would remember this. Sizzix Textures plates. They were kind of trying to mimic the whole letterpress look, but more of like a embossed, debossed sort of way. You have to go dig out like some old videos of anybody doing that, but from what I know, they no longer produce very much of that anymore. I do have a couple of plates I can show you next time how I do it, but you pretty much want to achieve the same setup, especially for something that is like this thick. So this is like a similar thickness to the Sizzix texture plates, but slightly thinner. So because of that, you can actually use some of these older ones, which is really heavy material. I have no idea what they are. With this method, so I'm gonna get this. The solution may or may not be necessary. Depends on like whether you want to like see whether deeper or less deeper like embossing. You won't have this here. Then, if you have a crease pad, it will make a whole lot of difference. Get yourself a crease pad, as well as the silicone rubber that is part of the setup here. Silicone rubber is also useful in general if you want to be using like spellbinders, like those die cuts with the embossing. You want to get these anyway, so just grab yourself and get one of these. You also want to have a crease pad, because there are times when you're using competing brands of die cuts and they're a little bit thicker. If you run them through your Sizzix with the normal platforms, they tend to overcut, and sometimes it scringes up the image, or it makes it really tough for like very detailed things to come out from like your die cut template. So you may want to, instead of using the plate, you may want to get this instead. Simply get this as your setup, and you go with this thing whole through, and you will get the image. I'm gonna grab the paper and just position like one of the places which is not exposed. Give myself more ink. Now for this metal ones, you cannot use pigment ink. I've tried, but then they tend to bead up, so the image comes out really crappy as well. You may want to use like the adhesive, but to place it down in place so that you know it's at the right place that you want it. But for the purpose of demonstration, I'm not going to go through the trouble. Just want to show you guys that you should put down I'm trying to get to the little nicks and crannies, the design. Just show you guys what turns out of here if I run it through. This, I have to say, to be honest, is a little bit tight, which is why you want to get the crease pad, because the crease pad actually reduces the tightness of as opposed to getting like the original texture pads thingy, but same setup. And you get a nice letterpress image. Yep. I didn't put the ink very well, which explains for like the bad printing. So it's nothing to do with the thing. It's just like they're not even inked. Look at that. My bad. But you get a really cool letterpress image as well. So you can do letterpressing just with your Sizzix if you own your silicone pad and a crease pad, all the textures plate. Textures is a bit hard. You end up with your paper crunches up slightly. Otherwise, this is a option that will totally work. But if you want to mass produce stuff, I'll totally get this. Except you just can't work with like the thicker the thicker vintage metal stuff. So that's all for today. Yeah, so I thought I want to show you guys that there is a way to ink up those vintage metal press templates or plates without having to actually buy like those huge ass machines where you use your legs to like, you know, pump it through and then you put like paper through and whatnot. I mean, like, unless you're going to print like 1,000 stuff. Otherwise, you know, this is a possible option if you already own a Sizzix and you already have some of these platforms and you just want to know, weigh your like cost and benefit and figure out how that works out. And yeah, I mean, like let's say you want to do like name cards. You want to do like say 100 or 200 name cards. I guess it's possible to consider using this as a cheaper option. I mean, it takes more time, but it is an idea. And you can get those plates customized on like different manufacturers, and those can be really cool, especially if you're doing like a business where you're selling something. I may do a customized one for my name card, but I haven't decided. But yep, so that's that, and I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching.